and it's absolutely fine for you to be comfortable, okay? So I'm going to jump right into self-employment. Why is self-employment so tough for people to qualify? It boils down to a very important and basic understanding, okay? Because when we pre-approve employed individuals, we qualify them on their gross earnings, okay? Why is that? Because their gross earnings is what they earn. Their gross earnings is what the state of Hawaii is going to base their payroll taxes on. The gross earnings is what the federal government is going to base their share of the cookie jar on. So after they pay their taxes, then that becomes their net income. With self-employed people, however, it's not that way. With self-employed people, it's not their gross earnings that we are allowed to qualify them with. It is their income after their expenses. It is their income after their deductions are taken. You understand the difference? It is the piece of the pie that the federal government and the state government taxes. So it is their net income after expenses that becomes the income that we are allowed to qualify. So oftentimes when I sit across a self-employed individual for the very first time who's very proud because their business grossed $500,000 for the entire year, or $250,000 or $150,000 or $75,000 for the entire year, right? They're thinking, I can qualify for a loan. I made a ton of money, right? But what they don't realize is that what we're chasing after is the bottom line. It's the net amount after all the expenses were taken. And once they see that for the first time, they're so disheartened and so discouraged. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm really making this much money, but I'm only able to qualify with this much money. And in most cases, what self-employed person is not going to take full advantage of all of their deductions? What self-employed person is going to leave money on the table, right? You'd have to be a crazy self-employed person in order to do that. So what's the game changer? The game changer is your mindset. Is that once you understand how the game is played, your mindset changes. And now you realize for the first time what you have to do in order to qualify for the loan. So now you understand, okay, that means I do have to pay my taxes. Because if I actually claim what I'm actually making the way that I'm really making this money, most probably, and not take advantage of all those deductions, then that means I'm going to have to pay all these taxes. I have to pay all these taxes to, general excise tax. Well, the GAT you got to pay anyways because it's on your gross sales, right? So there's no way of hiding the general excise tax unless you're just going to be forgetful and not claim it at all, okay? So you have to pay the 4.5% or whatever to 4.167% on your general excise tax, okay? But the state and the federal is paid on after you write everything off, okay? So I always explain this to the self-employed borrower when they first understand it for the first time, what has to happen. I say, so you're going to have to make a conscious decision to pay more taxes for at least one solid tax year. And hopefully, if that works, we'll be able to put you into home ownership. If for whatever reason that doesn't work and we now have to go into a 2-year situation, then you only have to do it for 2 full years. And hopefully the 24-month average will enable you to qualify for the loan. Once that happens, get into your house. When you're in your home, that is the single most biggest tax deduction that you will have. And so therefore, it's going to kind of sort of, from this moment forward, replace what you really have to write off on your taxes in order for you to move forward. I call it the sacrificial years. It's 2 years of sacrifice, only 2 years of sacrifice. How many of you thought 2 years ago that you were going to do something and the 2 years went by so fast your head spun? Raise your hand, right? So when I say to you it's only 2 years, I really mean 2 years, and it's going to go by so fast your head will spin, okay? Now why did I say 1 year, maybe 2 years? It has a lot to do with criteria or qualifications. If you're someone who's been self-employed for 5 years or more, when we run the electronic underwriting results, the electronic underwriter, known as the AUS, which stands for Automated Underwriting System, it reads all these layers of risks. And when it likes what it reads, it comes out with, ding, 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 you only need 1 year tax return for this borrower. So if I'm looking at your 2021 tax return and I'm like, okay, that was not a good year because you wrote everything off. But now that you know the way the game is played, let's consult and see what your numbers have to look like for 2022. Because you haven't filed your 2022s yet, right? How many of you have already filed your 2022s? Because I'm going to shoot myself. It'll be the first time that any self-employed person actually filed their tax returns within the first 30 days of the subsequent year. See, so it was a safe bet.
Unheard of.
Shoot myself. Right? I knew that, okay? So that's the reason why the consult is so important, right?